In the next 15 minutes, you must open your mind and forget everything you think you know, because everything you think you know is an illusion, a distortion of reality, and perhaps a figment of your imagination.
Open your eyes
What is real, what is not.
and look closely.
For every truth there is a lie.
Closer than before.
Around every corner, under every rock, and written between the lines are the lies waiting to be uncovered. This is your host, Charles Branson, and welcome to After Hours. What if the events that had occurred on September 11th, 2001 were to hide a more unspeakable future? Tonight we'll be investigating the tragic events of 9/11. Recently I've had some information fall into my hands. Information that will shock my viewers to their very core. What would you say if I told you 9/11 was for our protection? A week ago someone dropped a crisp, freshly sealed yellow envelope in my mailbox with the words "Top Secret" stamped in red staring up at me. I knew that moment would change my life. And I have that exact envelope right here in front of me at this very second. Stay tuned for the truth is about to be revealed. Over the years, many have believed that 9/11 was planned by the American government. What if I told you this was true? You may be thinking, but why? Why would they crash 3 planes, killing hundreds of lives? What were they thinking? In the yellow envelope, I have proof. Proof that those planes had something on them. Something dangerous. Something we thought only possible in movies. What if I told you that the human lives on that plane weren't lost due to the crash, but they were lost long ago, before that plane even left the ground? If I told you those planes did not crash, we'd be living in a nightmare, a night of the living dead at this very moment, because on those planes that were not in fact human, but brain-craving, flesh-eating zombies. These documents show me the details of each passenger on the plane, telling me who they are or what they were, with outlines of how the virus was made. But the real question is, were the crash sites random or planned? We'll be taking calls in a few minutes. If you have any questions and or answers to this week's theory, please call. And it looks like we have our first caller. May I ask who this is?
You conspiracy-loving bag of
I guess our screening questions need to be analyzed a little better. Alright, who do we have on the line with us today?
This is Fanny.
Right, Fanny, it's nice to have you tonight. What would you like to add to our little discussion?
I used to work at the towers. I was the lobby receptionist. I was there that day.
What a tragedy. You must have went through... I'm so sorry. Would you be willing to answer a couple questions today?
Yes.
Alright. Did you notice anything strange the day of the event?
It was like any other day, I guess. It was a little more quiet. I was behind my desk. There's usually 2 lobby receptionists. Though they're called in sick. It was a nice morning. Things were normal. Until an hour before the first crash.
And what happened then?
I remember people, their names and their faces. It's always been easy for me. I've always had a great memory, so I knew a lot of people who worked at my tower, but during that day, even the days leading up to that day, I saw a lot of new, unfamiliar faces. I didn't think anything of it, of course. They were there for interviews or meetings there. But everyone that I encountered, the strangers I didn't know, they were dressed formally. They also never came to the receptionist desk to check in.
How did they get past security?
Security was the one who let them in. But during that day, I had to cancel quite a few interviews. Everyone was sent to their desks and were asked to remain on their floors. That's when one of the nicely dressed men came up to me. He looked a little lost. I thought he might be, but he showed me his worker's badge. I couldn't help but be confused.
And why? Why would you be confused?
The badges have the employee's floor number on it, and all the years I've worked at the tower, I've not once seen an employee who worked on the 13th floor. Don't even think the elevators even stop on the 13th floor.
Interesting. That is quite strange. However, inside the envelope I was given, there was also the floor plans for both towers. And it would seem we have discovered a hidden, secure 13th floor. But we couldn't be absolutely positive until we had an eyewitness. And Fanny, it looks like that's you.
So, there was a 13th floor?
According to these supposedly unaltered floor plans, yes. Now, to your next caller, and who is this?
Max, I'm calling about the 13th floor.
Do you have any evidence for us?
Actually, I think I do. I was on the 13th floor that day. I used to be a New York City firefighter. After the first plane crash, my unit was dispatched, and we made it to the site in under 15 minutes. People were screaming, crying. There's papers everywhere, scattered on the floor. We didn't waste time. We rushed into the building. Halfway up the flight of stairs, with so many people rushing down, it was chaotic. I got separated from my partner and exited the staircase on the first door I saw. It was strange. The floor didn't look like the normal floors. For one, it didn't have a floor number. I didn't know what floor I was on. Second, it kinda looked like what a hospital looks like. Tile floors, white walls, flickering fluorescent lights, and it smelled clean. Too clean. Well, I was gonna head back into the staircase until I heard a noise. It sounded like someone in pain. I can't really describe the noise, but my first instinct was to rush towards it, to help whoever was hurt. And what I found was...
What did you find, Max? Who was making the noises you heard?
It wasn't human. Well, it was, but it looked ill. Almost to the point of death, and it was doing something.
What was it doing, Max?
It was crouched over someone. It was eating that someone. I ran and ran and ran, but ever since that day I haven't been able to get that image out of my head. It wasn't human. Whatever that was, it wasn't human. I thought I was going nuts. Crazy. I haven't been able to talk about it until I heard about you.
You're not crazy, Max. Don't let anyone tell you differently, for the truth must be told, no matter how many non-believers are out there.
Thank you.
We have time for one more caller. And who is this?
I can't let sit on the truth any longer. I can't.
What's the truth?
9/11, the plane crashes, everything that happened that day. You're right. It was a big cover-up for something bigger. Something much bigger. Something that would have destroyed the future of mankind. I was Special Agent Jefferson Moore, and I worked at the Pentagon, firstly. There was no plane crash there. It was an explosion. They wanted to hide the experiments they were doing. I know because I found the paperwork. I found things I shouldn't have found. Things that could have gotten me killed. Things worse than paperwork explaining the procedures in detail. Like the black boxes from the two planes.
2 boxes? So the third plane which flew into the Pentagon was a fake? What about the 4th plane that landed in the field? What happened to that one?
There was a 4th plane, but it didn't land. They lost contact with it, but they didn't want people to panic, so they made it look like they had everything under control. But they didn't. They had nothing under control.
Do you have the records of the black box on you?
I do.
Captain, looks like we'll have clear weather all the way to our final destination.
Roger.
What was that?
I'll check it out.
Something went wrong on those planes, and they tried to cover it up then.
No, you don't understand. Nothing went wrong. Everything went according to plan. They handpicked out those planes. They put their little science experiment on those planes because they knew that was the most secure place to test their little virus. Then they crashed them when it worked. They crashed them in the towers where their labs, where they blew up the Pentagon when they had a breach, and they hid what really happened to the fourth plane. They kept it all from us. Even made different conspiracy theories like the Bush did it. They created that. They led everyone astray. The government will never tell us the truth no matter how much proof we have.
What was that?
They're continuing hiding their mistakes from us. They don't care about their citizens. They love control. They love watching us go into panic. They thrive off it. I know I've worked for them for 40 years. 40 years stuck in the same position 24/7. 40 years of trying to climb the ladder. 40 years of being rejected day after day, and it's time someone understands the truth. They are... Hello? Hello?